Well, here we are, coming off a double episode of Survivor, even though I think the Wikipedia only listed it as one episode. So it's episode 10. It's 2 hours long. I am here with Miss Jody Jackson, who
Hi.
will be giving all the important and good details while I give all the meaningless stuff that doesn't matter.
Oh, please.
Since clearly we'll start out with the first part of hour of the episode. Um, it became clear that Carl was aiming for Alec, and then as soon as the reward happened, which was Alec, Allison, Gabby, Mike, and Christian, they got to go have raps, and then got a surprised loved one letters from their family members or friends, and so it got a little emotional. And I'll let Jody tell us how she felt about it.
So, I think it was very I don't know, Andy and I kind of talked before we started the live video, but it was very good to see like how a different perspective of the game. So, obviously, we love the family visits. We love when they get the letters from home just because you see a different side of that person. The game of Survivor is to outwit, outlast, outplay, and being deceiving and being someone that you're not is just a part of it. Uh-oh. You see
It's
me?
all good. Yeah, we can still hear you. We just can't see you.
Oh, hold on.
Jody's went dark. Well, I'll tell you what I thought about it. First off, the challenge, Alec made it easy comeback win for his team. He physically is capable of doing a few things that maybe some other people out there are not, which is why he had the target on his back. And then when they got the loved one letters, you could see how emotional everyone really got,
Right.
and how it hit them, and how they were thinking about either how they've been waiting to play for years or wanting to, and how the people are like, "You're out there, do your best." And Survivor did show us this time a shot of the beach, and you could see three or four of them in it. Usually, we just get like one person, and that's it. So it did. I thought they would always walk probably hundreds of yards away from each other, not because Survivor asked them to, just because they wanted to be alone. But they're actually pretty close to each other. But back
Right.
to Jody.
Yeah, it's just a different perspective of how close they are in like, to each other in this game. It's not like a long beach or they go off in the woods and they read these things. They're all fairly close together, and it's an emotional time for all of them. And then I think obviously that's another way that they kind of get a second wind in the game too. Like I love seeing that. So it's very cool to see. But in that little reward challenge, we did also see that for one, they ate too much. And I just think that that is I don't know, I guess it's just, I never thought about it. And I was watching the episode with my husband Reed, and he was just like, I was like, why did they get sick? Like, did they get like food poisoning or something? He was like, no, they literally ate too much. Their bodies cannot handle not having food for days and days and days. And then they go and they pig out on food. They're going to get sick. Like, I don't know. It was hard for me to wrap my mind around because I just didn't understand. Like, that's a long time without food. Like, so I think that was also good to see. A little good reminder of how hard it really is.
Well, when their primary diet is rice and water, and maybe a few small things here and there for some of them,
Yeah,
and then
coconut.
you go to I don't know exactly what it was, wraps of some sort. So my guess is it had like lettuce, tomatoes, maybe onions, um,
Cheese.
cheese, which is what probably is one of the primary things, and then maybe a chicken meat that has been over a grill or something to where it
Yeah.
has still fat and grease in it, and your body has not had that kind of stuff in it. And it's like you're saying, you're not used to it, and so it goes through you like snap. And now your stomach our stomachs have to have so much time based on just your genetics and how you metabolize things to work it out. If it can't work it out, it's going to send it back up the other way, and that's what was occurring in that episode on that part. I wonder if that has happened. We've seen people get sick before, but I wonder if this has happened more, than we've seen. And Survivor's I think Survivor's maybe opening the
Highlighting.
door more
Yeah.
to things that occur that we're not aware of.
Right. Well, and it just makes me realize what they, after the game is over. I mean, I'm sure it takes such a long time to kind of get your body back to normal. It's not just something that you go and play for a couple weeks out in the wilderness. Like, no, it's a physical toll on your body and mental. Like, I can only imagine. So, I don't know. I like that they're showing a little bit more of the behind the scenes, if you will. So that way, I mean, we can see like what kind of a physical and mental toll that they really go through.
I just I know Jody loves Survivor.
I do.
I unfortunately dive into another level sometimes that I don't need
Yeah.
to. A few years ago, there was a guy named Tony, and he even played in a more recent season on Game Changers. He won a few years ago. When Tony was on, they had a well where there was water, but the water was tainted, and you had to boil it.
Yes.
Tony actually was drinking the water, not boiled sometimes, because he was so thirsty and dehydrated, and he ended up having like parasites inside of him and stuff. So he was like,
gosh,
I think, sick for a while and unable to work for, I think, maybe 3 to 4 months after he got back. So there are things that they tell you when you go out there and like, okay, so you're like, oh, well, I'm not going to wait an hour to boil water and then another hour for it to cool down. I'm drinking this out of the well.
Right.
And so there's just things that people don't. We sit here and we have ideas, but until you're out there, you don't know what the experience is like.
Right. You don't. Yeah, it's crazy.
I think Alec realized that he was up for the threat to be voted out. I don't remember if anyone told him or not, but he felt it going into the immunity challenge he had to win. The immunity challenge had a very interesting thing to where there was a looked like probably 2 or 3 pound plate of nachos and then like a pitcher of beer, and I think the other one may have been margaritas or something. What was your thought on the fact that Carl, Nick, and Angelina chose to sit out and eat, and then the fact that everyone else maybe didn't?
Well, I'll start with Carl. Okay. Honestly, yes, I do think he became overconfident in this game. However, I understand why he sat out, because he's not had any food. Everybody else is really, besides him and Angelina, right?
Yes.
Have been on a reward challenge. They've had plenty of opportunities for food, and he's not had any. So I understand that. However, by him doing so, I mean, it put a huge target on his back. Angelina, if I could do an even bigger eye roll, I would, because it's sickening how overconfident she is, and nobody seems to care. Like, I don't know. I mean, she got so upset when they voted. It wasn't, or was it Alec? And then she came back and she was like, "Does anybody want to tell me what's going on?" Like,
not when they voted Alec. When they voted the guy who's too emotional, Dan.
Dan.
When they voted Dan out, she was not in on that vote.
Right.
She didn't have any idea.
So she just thinks that she's like the head honcho of the Goliath tribe, and it drives me insane. So yeah, I totally, that wasn't shocking to me whenever she decided to sit out. Nick, I don't know why.
Well,
To do that.
I'm going to interject for a second. Nick, for the record, him and Davey Nick found it, but Davey was helping. He found a clue to the immunity idol, and Nick knew that night, even though it wasn't a immunity challenge, but he knew that night he was going to have it. No, he had already found it, sorry, before that. At the reward challenge, it was when he found it the night after that. Nick got an hidden immunity idol. He had to walk, according to him, it seemed like 10 miles down the beach to find the flames and fires, and it's just take it, which I'm going to say, so everyone can see my face, I'm going to agree with Jody at this point. Usually Survivor immunity idols are very distinct, very nice looking. This season, they're like, oh, we're going to throw everyone off, and we're going to make it to where you can make it at the beach. No, I like it, Jody, because I think, well, no, I mean, if you have like literally some twine and some shells, you can make that at the beach, and it legit looks like the idol.
Well, maybe that's why they did it. So that way, I mean, you don't know whether it is or whether it isn't.
So I think Nick may have sat out for that reason, because he's like, okay, I'm not really a target, and I do have an idol, so I'm going to go get some food. Now, the way they ate that food, and this is something I'd like to comment on, Jeff says you have until the challenge is over. Looking at the challenge, what they saw was, okay, you're going to have to hold your arms at
above your head
at an angle, and you have to keep your both feet on a perch, some part of both feet touching, that looked like it may have been 3 or 4 inches thick, which I don't know if people know a human foot. 3 or 4 inches ain't much, and you could see how people were turning and doing it. Usually you would think that a challenge like this might, if you're lucky, go 2 hours, but there is a chance it could go 30 minutes. So they were stuffing the food down. If they had known it was going to go almost 6 hours, they would have probably took their time. Because I kind of thought, oh, we're going to see these guys being sick from eating the nachos, but maybe they just had shown enough people throwing up.
That's true. That's true. Yeah. Here's my thought on Nick. Okay. If I were a player in the game and he doesn't have a target on his back, he's not really a threat, you know, I don't know. I would look so much into that and be like, okay, there's a reason why he sat out. Why does he feel like he's so safe? I would be suspicious that he did have an immunity idol. So, in a way, he kind of like showed his cards. So, I don't know. That's just me, though.
Well, for the record, it usually seems when they do something like that, either the person that needs to win immunity and does it, which is what happened to Alec, gets voted out, and it's pretty easy, or one of the people that sat out ends up getting voted out. But when Alec didn't win the immunity, we didn't have any chance of, well, is it going to be Angelina, or are they really going to get Carl, or what? So that did occur. The other thing that I like about those things is it's always a double-edged sword of what's more important. Because if I was Nick, I would have done the same thing. I think Nick thought, okay, I'm not going to win this challenge. I don't think people perceive me the right way, so I'm good. So it's how you're feeling out there.
Right.
Because, I mean, I was really surprised that Davey and Gabby didn't sit out as well.
Yeah, I think Gabby still thinks she has something to prove.
Well, she went far, but she didn't prove it. Now, Alec and Christian ended up in a showdown in this for probably at least, what was it, probably 4 hours, maybe at least 3 of the hours.
And I was honestly surprised that Jeff let him tell all these stories.
I mean, you can talk, like, if you're out there, you can talk all you want. They can't say, no, you can't talk. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's not like a silent challenge. Christian, he knew that the way to keep himself focused is he has to be talking and giving examples of stuff, where on the other side, Alec needs to he needed more silence into himself and to motivate himself. And you could tell what Christian was saying was weighing on him, but that's not what got him out. Even Alex said, and maybe I don't know if this is Ponderosa, or I think he may have said it at some point during there, that he like had blacked out for a second, or like he couldn't see and got dizzy, and then he let go. So I think even if he would have physically somehow made himself hang on for another few minutes, my money's on he would have physically passed out, which has happened on
Survivor. Passed out. Yeah,
yes.
Who passed out one time in an immunity challenge? Oh my gosh, who was that?
The one with
long hair. He had
Keith
long hair.
Nell. He beat some young. It might have been Joe. I can't remember. When they did a second chance, I think Keith Nell went up against someone, and they were doing something like that, and the other guy who was younger and more physical passed out, and then they talked about how you didn't see, but Keith went down after too. Like both of them had.
I do remember. Yes. Yeah.
And then the Army guy, Caleb, a few seasons ago on Brains, Bronze, Beauty, he had that challenge to where they were digging in the sand, and he was like had a heat stroke or something. So it's real out there, and that's why I can tell you, depending on my spot, if I'm Alec, I know I have to play that challenge. If I'm anyone else, I'm not gonna lie to you. If you feel where you're at, you might eat. But anyway, I'll let Jody wrap up. What final thoughts on the challenge?
I liked it. It was fine. Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I feel like if Alec had a couple more minutes, that he would probably, or a couple more seconds, really, he probably would have physically, would have taken himself out of the challenge. But I thought Christian was brilliant. Because, I mean, I do feel like that was just a way that he could take his mind off of how bad it hurt. And so, in turn, I mean, it kind of furthered him in that challenge. So, anywho.
Well, we get done with the challenge. We go back. Alec kind of pitches whatever, or they kind of talked about maybe getting rid of, I think it was even Carl at that point. They kind of talked about it. He said something, and then Christian, basically before Tribal, was like, well, I might want to keep Alec around so that it keeps the target off me. But at the end of the day, he got there. When I was watching Tribal, this is my perspective, I felt like Christian didn't target either Carl or Angelina. So I kind of like, okay, he's not giving this elite argument, and I'm just feeling like Alex going home because Christian's just kind of being vague in his answers. Alex not going after people hardcore. And it felt honestly like Dr. Allison may have been working harder than Alec. And so it was like, to me, it was a foregone conclusion after about the first three, maybe people spoke at Tribal. And I'm sad because I'll eat the crow right now. I said Alec was going to win. He's out. And there's like 7 or 8 people left. Shame on me.
So now who's your prediction?
I'm not going to predict it. I'm not going to curse anyone else. But sorry, Alec got hit with the thing of doom. Tribal, I thought it was, to me, some people thought it was good. I thought it was anticlimactic. Any thoughts on that Tribal where Alec got voted out? I think even Dr. Allison voted for him at the end. I think it was all.
She did. Yeah, I think she did. I mean, obviously it was a blindside. I think I didn't see that coming, to be honest with you. But at the same time, I see where you're coming from, that he didn't really try as hard as he could to keep himself safe, aside from the immunity challenge. I mean, that was what it was what it was. However, I thought that in the tribal council, Dan just kept piping up, and I guess it was the first time, really, because they don't show the jury a whole lot, that, I mean, he was just talking nonstop.
Sometimes the jury, it just doesn't happen as often, But they're over there like whispering things, and we get the little scrolls on the screen, and it's just maybe that's how his character is going to be. We've already discussed. I think he is a very way too emotional person, but that's just me.
Yes, it's horrible. So, anyway, I mean, I agree with you. Anticlimactic, like it was just kind of, oh, golly. There we go. It's because my phone keeps going. So yeah, I agree with you on that one.
Well, we move to the second part of the episode, and we'll start with the reward challenge real quick. It was an interesting reward challenge. Christian did not get picked, had to sit out. For anyone who wants to know, if you go and look, there is one of the secret clips with Christian talking about how that has affected him and how he thinks people perceive him because he sat out or because he didn't get picked in that. But anyway, we get there. Surprise, surprise. It's Kara, Mike, Davey, and Carl. They win. They beat Dr. Allie, Nick, Gabby, and I'm trying to think of who the other person is now. No, Mike was on the reward challenge. Sorry, I'm missing someone's name. My fault. Well, anyway, they won. Well, what a surprise. Carl and Davey won. Davey said he got his black card back because apparently he's not very athletic and he got to dunk one. I was curious on if he had broke that bamboo, would they have forfeited, lost the challenge? Because you see it bounces pretty good. And I'm like, interesting. Well, they go on the reward.
Right. I was thinking the same thing.
They go on the reward. There's a lot of alcohol provided, and Carl holds back nothing and goes to town on this. Davey did too. They literally both almost fall out of the boat when they get to the beach to eat. They eat and they talk about it. Mike kind of talks about how he feels Carl may have control of the game. And Kara's just like, why are they telling me this? They're giving me too much information. So what was your thoughts on the overall thing, Jody, on that?
Well, again, you go that many days without food. Of course, when you get beer, you're going to be sloshed. So, of course, when you get alcohol in your system, you get a little bit more comfortable with sharing information. And here Carl is just wanting, like, just, we got to get Allison, blah, 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 blah. And he tells two people that, I mean, I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong. I think Allison is kind of the toss-up because you never know, like, who she's really with. I mean, obviously she's a Goliath, but I feel like she has a lot of different alliances. I could be wrong. I don't know.
You're right. But
I
the
just
thing
feel like
is,
you never know who she's with. But to tell two people from the Goliath tribe that they're going to take another Goliath member out is exactly what Kara says. She's like, it ain't going to work. So,
well, no, they would have been better off saying Angelina or Gabby. I don't think Mike cared who they said.
No,
he was going to make up his mind as it went. But Kara was not. Kara was not going to vote out Gabby or Allison at that point if she thought there was a way it wasn't going to happen.
Right. So, I mean, I think Carl will look back on his entire Survivor journey and be like, dang, that's where I went wrong. So yeah, I just think you got to be careful when, and maybe that's why Survivor is doing that. I know you and I kind of talked about the whole alcohol thing. I feel like in seasons past, they've not really done a whole lot of alcohol. Kind of like you said, maybe it was just like a wine or something, but I feel like this season alone, they've had some sort of alcohol at like the majority of the reward challenges. And so I don't know if they're adding something like that as a factor, like, oh, let's get these people feeling good so that way they'll divulge information. But I don't know. It's kind of crazy.
CBS, if you're watching, I just want to say that I'm not sure. Jody has a point. It may be because we know alcohol, especially when you've been food deprived, may help things turn more, and it may help, someone say something they're not supposed to say. It may help a idol be played, or who knows. But I'm curious to know, and this is where well, at least I don't think we'll ever know. I don't plan on being a producer, so I doubt I will. I wonder if CBS takes like a thing saying, okay, what are some of your favorite foods? What are some of your favorite drinks? And so it's like, well, if everyone on there is a big drinker, well, then do they provide alcohol for that reason? Like, no, I'm just saying, I don't know if this is
Juices.
anything to clue,
Yeah.
because it's magical how, like, when they do food auctions or rewards, they have food that people, I mean, it's not like they're like, oh, we have chicken spaghetti out here, because though it may be easy to make out there, that's not what the people will eat.
Right.
And
Yeah, you're
so
right.
I'm just curious if maybe that might help map it out, because sometimes it seems like there is more alcohol, beer, and wine on the show than in other seasons where it's like, oh, and you have sweet tea or milk, or, there's just,
Yeah.
which I think milk would be, I love milk. I love cookies. I love apple pie, and I love all that with milk. I even love donuts with milk. But I imagine being out there, milk would be one of the worst things to have.
Yeah, I could see that.
Um, so it's kind of up in the air on why that is, why it happens. Maybe one day someone will let it slip in an interview, and I'll let you know. Um, but the one thing that kind of got me after that was Carl comes back. He tells Christian the plan
At his
to get rid of
bedside.
Dr. Allison. And then what was Christian's line, Jody?
He was like, of course, I'm going to leave my decision to someone that is half sloshed.
So
It was just funny. Like, it was hilarious to me. I cracked up at that. And then Mike also cracked me up. He was like, yeah, the Godfather, we're all going to go to Carl's bedside, find out the plan, kiss the ring, and go back to go back to the beach. It was
well,
just funny.
it is, and it was a good part, and there were some good lines, and they were showing you why Carl was putting himself in a bad situation with the
Right.
edit. We get to the immunity challenge, and this one is they teeter totter puzzle, and they have to spin around to get it unlocked, then go on a zigzag balance beam, and in the middle they have to get more of these cubes that spells out a word. Uh, Everyone was pretty good on pace, and I would have to rewatch the episode really close. Jeff usually is saying something that may hint at the word, or
Yeah.
the word is somehow I didn't feel it. Like I said, I'd have to rewatch the episode. I didn't feel like Jeff had given us
Oh, the
like
hint? No.
yes
Yeah,
on
no.
this one, and that's because they know. Now everyone had something different. Me personally, I would have been screwed because I can't spell very well, and so it would have been like me looking at someone else's and hoping they're close to right, and maybe I can hit it at the end if they miss a letter or something. But it seemed like everyone kind of had a thing, and they were going for like, and you could see some of the words. Like I think the first word Dr. Allison was trying to do was like victory or something,
Oh, yeah.
and so everyone was trying to do a word, and then Carl had something with a P, and it's just like all of a sudden that was the word, but Carl had a different word with a P, and then the clock went off for Allison and Davy, and they were in a race to get the final blocks in, and I think Davy beat Allison by like a block or two.
Yeah, it was crazy.
How'd you feel? Is that a challenge that you feel you could potentially succeed at? Because Christian and Gabby are supposed to be, and even Angelina went to Yale Harvard. Sorry, Angelina, I don't know which one it was, but you would think that those three would just have it. If they could get to the point, they would be able to do it. But that's just a random kind of thing.
Well, I mean, shocker here, but I totally thought at the beginning, I was like, oh, Christian's got this in the bag. Because he's super good at figuring out puzzles and things like that. So I was like, if he can get to that point, he is going to kill it. But is it a challenge that I think I could do? Obviously, the physical part of it, I'm good at balance. I think I could get to the puzzle part. But like you said, without some sort of hint or something, I wouldn't have gotten perspective at all. At all. So, I mean, that was a tough one. I was honestly shocked that Carl came up with the word that he did. I don't know why. He came up with the word perception, which I don't know. It was just funny to me. Like, that's not really something
well,
I didn't see him.
Hey everyone, that's Reed. Have fun. It's not anything that Carl wasn't like just completely off. It wasn't obviously the right word, but he had something in his mind and he went with it. And that's part of it because it's like 13 or 14 letters, whatever it was. And you've got to, I imagine that's got to be one of the difficult ones to do.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
So we get done with the challenge. Davy's got the immunity idol. If Dr. Allison has it, it becomes real interesting, but she doesn't. So now there's two sides. There's Allison obviously trying to stay in. Kara would prefer Allison stay in. Then you've got Gabby and Christian trying to decide where they want to go. And then you've got Mike who's like, I don't know which one I want to go. But Carl was just being so abrasive about it. Now, where Carl lost Christian was when he didn't want to include Gabby because Gabby and Christian are tight. So,
yep.
What do you think made the person I want to know is what made Mike's mind decide to go the way he did? Did Mike see that okay, if I go with them, they are just going to pick off the Goliaths until we're gone?
I don't know. Do you think? I mean, obviously, I think he was sick of Carl. I think that had a lot to do with it and his decision. And I think that he thought, no, I mean, like, you're not going to be calling the shots. So, I mean, yeah, I mean, because Mike went on the reward challenge, and he was a part of that conversation when Carl was saying that he was going to vote Allison. So I just think just in spite of him doing that and saying that he was going to vote a Goliath, he was like, no, you're not going to be calling the shots. So he voted against. But I don't know. I just have a feeling that Allison is working things behind the scenes that we don't really know. And I feel like she has a really good way of persuading people. So I wouldn't sleep on her just quite yet. So.
Okay, so I'll just put the hex on her. I'm rooting for Dr. Allison. I'm not going to pick her. I'm rooting for her. And she's been kind of one of my favorites, but I didn't think she was going to win, so I am now just clearly rooting for her. I'm not going to pick you, Allison. Sorry, I've already put enough of hex on you anyway. We get to the next. They vote out. Carl gets beat by vote. We get to the next episode preview, and Nick is now upset with Christian, and they make that thing's going to be out to be a big deal. And even Christian's like, well, they're dumb if they think they're just going to come after me and whatever. But then they tease us with Gabby saying she's ready to move on Christian to Kara and Dr. Allison.
Yeah, and there's no way.
We'll see.
I think she's playing both sides there. I think we'll see, but I think she's playing both sides to make it seem like she's on their side, but her and Christian are too tight for that, so I don't think.
But why would she tell Dr. Allison and Kara that? That would be a conversation with Nick and Davy or Angelina.
Well, she even said in the last, I can't remember who she was talking to. Maybe it was Christian, where she said something about, oh, that's funny that they think me and Allison are so tight or something like, or that they're not telling me because I'm so close to Allison or something like that. I can't remember what it was. So I don't know. I think Gabby is smart, and I think she's playing them.
We'll see. Jody
We
doesn't want
shall
Christian to
see.
get loaded out.
We
And
shall
then the
see.
other big thing that will affect this vote is going to be the loved ones' visits because
Yep.
some people are going to get to see their loved one and some are not. Someone's going to win that reward and they're going to pick people to go and they're going to pick people not. I love watching the reactions and seeing people with their loved ones. But
I
the
do too.
second best part of that's going to be is what is the blowback on it.
Yeah. I do have one more question, Andy.
Okay?
Did you think it was weird that okay, so usually if someone has to sit out or is not picked in one of the immunity challenge, or was it immunity or reward?
Yeah, we talked about this at some
I know.
point.
I
Do,
know.
so, do you want me to? I think I know where you're going with this. Okay, in both, there's been times to where now they have drawn, like they draw rocks, whoever draws the white rocks out, or they've been to where they picked. And on both of them, they have not allowed to go to rewards. Survivor, I guess this season, they're just like, no. And part of the reason is I think sometimes the lines are more blurred before they were to this point as to where people are voting. So they're like, oh, we may be able to throw one extra person who's not with them on that reward. Because let's say that I pick all the people in my alliance on my side, or most of them, to win the reward, and then someone not on my alliance is sitting out, and now they choose to come with us on the reward, so they're kind of like a spy. But on this one, I don't know what the deal is, but they haven't done that. That's my thoughts on it.
Well, and I also thought it was weird because usually if they have someone sit out, there's an idol on that bench
Well,
hidden somewhere.
sometimes,
Sometimes. And so immediately when I saw Christian, they were like, Christian's not picked, blah, blah, blah. He's sitting out. I was like, oh, there's an idol on that bench. There has to be an idol on that bench. But there wasn't. So I was a little disappointed.
well, we shall see what happens on the next episode. The only thing we missed, and we talk about rights before we go, is the Rice and Angelina.
Oh, gosh.
Hold on, I didn't get Jody's face. Sorry, guys. She is not pleased by this. I'm going to say my thoughts on this is they've had this happen before. And Probe like robs them of everything. Like he takes away everything but like a machete, a pot, and maybe the fire starter kit. He takes all their luxury items away and everything extra. Now this time he's just like Angelina offered. Now, first off, I'm gonna tell you, if I'd been there, I'd been like, Jeff, I don't agree to that. This woman's out of her mind. But she offers everything,
She
and
offers.
I was kind of like, well, and he said it was low. I was like, Jeff, that's kind of about what you usually would take. And then he's like, well, I just want you to sit out the immunity challenge. I'm like, that is so weak. That even if she gets voted out, I still was like, that is so weak that that's what it's going to be. Like, go take half their stuff. So he did it, and life moves on. What was your thoughts on Angelina's great sacrifice to the tribe to make everything better?
I don't know. I think from the moment she opened her mouth at camp that they were short on rice, and this is her specialty, that she's from Yale, and she was in this negotiation class, and she knows how to negotiate and all this stuff. I was just like, cry me a river. I was just like, are you serious that she would actually go there? And no one, it was weird to me that when she was talking about it at camp, everybody else rolled their eyes too, that nobody was ever like on the same page as her as far as, yeah, let's give away pretty much everything we have for some rice, which, I mean, everybody was grateful after it all happened, but it was such a calculated move. It was so fake. Like, oh yeah, I'll take one for the team and I'll sit out, so that way everybody can pat me on the back, and then they won't vote me out this next tribal council because I am feeding them. Like, it was just so, I don't know. I don't know. Hopefully some of those people can see right past all that, that she surely. if I'm at home and I'm not playing in the game and I can see right past it, surely someone there is like, this chick is full of it. I don't know.
Do you have any closing statements?
No, I don't.
Okay. Well, I will leave everyone with this. Sorry I did miss this too, Jody, but I will leave everyone with this. The reason they didn't go to tribal the night of Alex and Davies, or I mean Alec and Christian's battle, was if you look, they started that probably around lunchtime or
Oh, yeah.
so, and then it was way too late in the day, and they went. They're like, "Oh, these people don't have time to go decide on who to vote for," so they gave them an extra day because there have been survivors to where challenges haven't went that long, and they've went and tribal was not smooth, and you could tell that there was not good plans. And that's why sometimes people talk about their plans early because they've seen previous seasons to where it has occurred. It's very rare, but I like that Survivor gave them time to talk about it.
Yeah, I do too.
So this is me. I'm going to say bye, and I'll let Jody say bye, and we'll see y'all sometime again.
Bye. Thanks for watching.